Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this in one go, so if I stumble over my words going forwards, I apologise in advance. I should also apologise in advance if the quality of this video isn't too great. If there's any lag later on, sadly it cannot be helped. Hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. So, once again, I am filming another Eurovision Song Contest related video, and my last video was essentially me sitting here talking for about half an hour about my favourite entry from every country that has participated in Eurovision over the past decade. And thank you very much to those of you that have watched that video. Today I'm going to be talking about my least favourite entries, not from every country. I've decided to do this video a little differently. I've got a massive spreadsheet in front of me, and I'm just going to be going through every year, 2010 to this year, and telling you my least favourite entries. I also have the results loaded up on this internet page here as well, because, you know, my opinion is my opinion. But I think there probably are some Eurovision songs that most Eurovision fans would agree from each year are the worst. I want to make this very clear. I think it's very important to say this. I shouldn't need to say it, of course, but these are just my opinions on the whole, and I ask that you respect my opinions as I will with yours. I wouldn't take it too seriously. With something like Eurovision, somebody's going to be your favourite and somebody's going to be your least favourite. It's just the way it is. Do not take it personally. So, 2010, let's take a look at my spreadsheet first. What I should say is that earlier this year I decided to completely update my personal ranking for every year of my lifetime, so 1993 to the present day. And it was a very long process, and believe me, it takes a very long time because I'm very meticulous with this stuff. But I have the updated rankings in front of me. For 2010, my least favourite entry is the Polish entry. I'll be honest with you, it's the Polish entry from semi-final 1. This was Legenda by Marcin Brozinski. It's just a song that I never got into. Didn't really like the performance. I think a lot of people in the years since have also gone off the performance, if I'm being honest. I just didn't really understand what was going on. I found it to be a bit of a dull entry. Just not my thing. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't such a fan of Latvia from semi-final 1 either. Wasn't a huge fan of the Russian entry, Peter Nalic and Friends. I would say those three songs, probably my three least favourites of 2010, perhaps. Very difficult to put these songs into any sort of order. The real life last place overall in the 2010 competition, Switzerland, which was Il pleut de l'or, It's Raining Gold, performed by Michael von der Heide. This received just 2 points in the second semi-final way back in 2010. Was it the worst song of that year's competition? No. I really don't think it was. 2 points is very harsh. Slovenia, 1 place above Switzerland in that second semi-final, arguably the weakest song of that year. Let me know your thoughts. That song from Slovenia, Narod Nozabavni Rock, was essentially folk meets rock, and it just didn't work. It was a very, very messy performance and a very messy song. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on those entries I've just mentioned. 2011, my least favourite, this is maybe a bit controversial, it's Ukraine, a song that actually finished 4th in real life. In my opinion, Mika Newton with Angel, probably the most overrated song of the past 10 years. I can't think of many more entries where I really do feel that it was overrated. Excuse me. When I was watching the voting in 2011, I couldn't believe that this song was pushing for the win. I didn't understand it, and I'm still a little baffled as to how this song finished in the top 5. I mean, it's not bad, I like it more than I did at the time, but 4th place for a song that really wasn't that spectacular at all. There was the sand artist on stage. That was nice. But yeah, I mean, in any other year, I don't think this song would have finished nearly as high. It's my least favourite from 2011. Also not a fan of Portugal, A Luta e Alegria by Homens da Luta. And also the Lithuanian entry, C'est ma vie, by Evelina Sashenko. I just found that to be just too dull for my liking. Couldn't get into it much. Doesn't mean that I hate the song, just not my thing. Taking a look at the real life 2011 results, I can tell you what it is without even looking. It's the Netherlands. This was Never Alone by 3JS, or the 3 Yays. This was from the second semi-final and finished last with 13 points. The live performance just wasn't that great, but it's one of my personal favourites of the year. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? Even if a song finishes rock bottom overall, it's going to be somebody's favourite, or it's going to be in the top 10 for a lot of Eurovision fans. It's in my personal top 10, I believe. Let's take a look. There it is. Yeah, my personal number 10 of the 2011 competition. Cyprus didn't do very well. The worst song from 2011, if we're being completely realistic about this, probably is Portugal. That was just totally the wrong song to send, in my opinion. This is already turning into a very rambling, nonsensical sort of video, but anyway, plodding on with 2012. My least favourite song from 2012, Montenegro. This is a serious contender for the poorest song of the entire century so far. Absolutely dismal stuff from Montenegro. It was the first song of the first semi-final. It was Euro Neuro by Rambo Amadeus. Now, when I read up on this guy, I had a feeling it was going to be a very messy, strange sort of song and a strange sort of performance. It really wasn't a good show opener. It was so messy. There was a sort of wooden horse, if I remember, a guy being wrapped up in a banner. I didn't understand what on earth was going on. He was moving about the stage as though he'd had a few pints of lager. I just did not get it at all. And I suppose it was unique and fresh and different for Eurovision, but it was really bad. There's no other way to say it. Not Montenegro's finest, and it's my least favourite from 2012. Not a huge fan of Portugal. Just a song I couldn't get into. And even Bulgaria, there's another contender for a song that I feel has been a little bit overrated in the years since. Not Polygenova, Sophie Marinova with Love Unlimited, a song that was in every language you can possibly imagine. Just not my thing. Not my thing. But again, I like it more than I did. So there's a positive. Taking a look at the real life 2012 results, last overall with 8 points, Austria. This was Voki mit dein Popo by Track Shitas, who I don't believe are still making music. 8 points. Oh dear. To be honest, not that bad a song, but watching the live performance, I suppose many Eurovision fans did have a feeling it was probably going to really struggle. But it is my personal number 19 of the 2012 contest, for those of you that are interested. Yeah. What else is there to say? Was it the worst song of the 2012 competition? No. Montenegro was, in all honesty. Just my opinion, but I think a lot of people would agree with me. Moving on to 2013. Oh dear, let's move on. 2013, my least favourite, Macedonia, former Yugoslav Republic of, as they were once known. This song, Pred da se razdeni by Esma and Lozano. 2 songs in one. Didn't mind his part. Wasn't a fan of her part. I've got to be honest with you, I think it was her vocals that put me off. Plus, the song just didn't really go anywhere. It just meandered. Couldn't get into it. Not a big fan of Montenegro again. There's a song that everybody else seems to love but me. That was Igranka. Couldn't get into that one either. I know I'm repeating myself here, but completely true. Didn't really like Bulgaria. I found that to be a really slipshod performance. Cyprus, too dull for me. Didn't like Romania, but it was always going to do fairly well because it was a bit of a jokey entry, I guess. Israel, a ballad that I just found to be really quite sleepy, even though the vocals were very strong. Let's take a look at the real life 2013 results. Last overall, I believe it was Slovenia. Not a shock. Straight into Love by Hannah. 8 points. That's it. Pretty low. But for me, the live performance was really not that great. Her vocals needed to be a lot stronger on the night. It sounded as though she was really forcing it, if you see what I mean. And, there were a few duff notes in there as well. But there we go. Was it the worst song of the year? No, probably not. Probably not. But then again, probably, yeah, looking at this. Latvia finished bottom of semi-final 2. You could argue that song's poorer. Let me know your thoughts. 2014, my least favourite from 2014, Moldova and Georgia. Sort of a tie there. Moldova from semi-final 1, this was Wild Soul by Christina Scarlett. They revamped it. I remember that much. Didn't like it originally. Didn't like it in 2014. Once they revamped it, don't like it now. And Georgia, I think a lot of people had this as their bottom song of 2014. Just too different and hard to really be immersed in, if you see what I mean. Yeah, those two entries. Not a fan of Belgium, who decided to go for something operatic with Axel Irsu that year. Didn't work. Lithuania as well. Yeah, that wasn't a great live performance. The actual last place from the 2014 competition, you could say France, because they got just 1 point, 2 points in the grand final, but it is Moldova, Wild Soul, Christina Scarlett. Not a surprise. Realistically, the worst song, the poorest song of 2014, probably Moldova, yeah. Probably Moldova. I mean, yeah, probably Moldova. What else is there to say? Moving on to 2015. Oh dear, let's take a look at 2015. Poland. Again, I do apologise to any Polish people watching. Don't take it seriously. You've had some brilliant songs. Your entry from 2014 was great. But in 2015, no, 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 hell no. This was In the Name of Love. Monika Kuzinska. She was in a wheelchair. And to be honest, the performance was fine. But the song made me almost go into a coma. It was so dull. So dull. I'm not sure how this qualified for the final. I mean, with all due respect, this song is not that good. Not that good at all. 10 points in the final. I'm not surprised. Taking a look at the actual last place from 2015, it was Finland. Finland made an absolutely huge error in 2015. They sent Pertti Kurrikan Nimipäivät with Aina Mun Pitää, 13 points in semi-final 1. The shortest song we've ever had in Eurovision, barely a minute and a half long. It was punk, different, that has to be applauded, but it was just the wrong entry for Finland to send that year. They probably would have been in with a shot of making the final if they had sent Satin Circus, but alas, they didn't. Germany and Austria got 2 big fat zeros. That wasn't deserved at all. I think the dominance of Sweden, Russia and Italy that year played a part. Realistically, the worst song of 2015, Finland, you have to say, and probably the UK, actually. My least favourites, I've said Poland, but I wasn't a fan of Finland, Armenia or San Marino, who had male-female duo, Chain of Lights, very cheesy, not my thing. Moving on to 2016, getting through it now. I do apologise, this isn't the most riveting video once again, but I wanted to film it. 2016, Albania and Greece. Albania from semi-final 2, this was Fairy Tale by Eneda Tarifa. She was wearing a gold dress. It was a very static performance. They revamped it. It didn't work. I think a lot of Eurovision fans would agree with me that they did not need to revamp it, and it just completely backfired. And then Greece, not their finest Eurovision entry of the century so far. It was sort of traditional meets rap, not the most engaging entry, quite a forgettable performance. And to think that Greece have sent some absolute bangers over the years, this was not it. It did not strike a chord with enough viewers. Taking a look at the real life 2016 results, Well, Germany finished last in the final, and I know it sounds harsh, but I think Jamie Lee Kriewitz's outfit played a part in why she struggled, although outfits shouldn't matter at all. The real life last overall was Estonia, which I can't believe even to this day. This was a huge fan favourite coming into the 2016 competition. Play by Yuri Potsman, actually in my personal top 10. It's my number 5, actually, of the 2016 competition. This was good. It was a bit of a creepy performance. It wasn't the most exciting performance, but it's one of those songs that is very hard to stage well, because it's not super upbeat and it's not super low-key. You have to just find that nice balance. And I don't think Estonia did that year. He had that trick with the playing card. It just wasn't quite working, was it? But the worst song of 2016? Never. Realistically, you could say San Marino. With Serhat, you definitely could say Greece with Argo. And you could say Switzerland or Denmark as well, who struggled in semi-final too. Or Germany, but I don't think that German entry's the weakest song. It's not the weakest song in that grand final lineup. But there we are. Moving on to 2017. So, Spain wasn't great, was it? But I've got Montenegro here. That was Slavko Kalezic, was it not, with Space? And San Marino, this was Spirit of the Night. I've got to go with Montenegro. It's just fun and fairly enjoyable to watch. You know, swinging that massive ponytail around his head. But yeah, it wasn't great. Czech Republic, which I do like more now than I did at the time. That did very well in the jury vote, let's not forget. Martina Barta. I've also got Lithuania here, who just completely sent the wrong song for that Kiev competition. Taking a look at the actual results for 2017, I believe last overall, it is San Marino, 1 point. Was it the worst song? The weakest entry of the 2017 competition? No, it was not. Not in my opinion. You know, they really went for it. They were having fun on stage. Lithuania, arguably poorer. And they finished up with 42 points. You could say Spain. You could say Germany. And from semi-final 1, you could say Montenegro. You could say Slovenia. For me personally, that Slovenian entry, On My Way by Omar Naber, little bit underrated by Eurovision fans. Latvia came last of semi-final 1. Eurovision fans were really into this, but I saw the live performance and I completely understood why it didn't qualify. There was so much going on, so much to look at, so many colours flashing in my face, I didn't know where to look. And the juries were never going to go big for that. But anyway, that's a whole other video and a whole other story. Moving on to 2018. Well, I sound like I'm just repeating myself again and again and again. Montenegro. This was Inya by Vanja Radovanovic, I believe the guy's name is. Yes. This wasn't last in semi-final 2 last year. 40 points, 16th place. The real life last was Iceland, to nobody's surprise. This was almost guaranteed to be rock bottom of the 2018 competition. This was Ari Olaf's song with Our Choice, 15 points, all from the jury. Yeah, it wasn't great, was it? But Montenegro, I found it just really dull, and I didn't like his outfit. Not that the outfit should really matter, already said that. Wasn't a fan of Belarus. I just found that to be maybe a little bit overrated, but I just found it to be, again, a performance that I just couldn't get into or enjoy very much at all. Wasn't a huge fan of Armenia or Georgia. And taking a look at the rest of the results, was Georgia the weakest song of the year? No. Was Iceland the weakest song of the year? No. Realistically, you probably would have to say San Marino. Probably. Or Russia. That Russian entry. Oh my word. Yulia Samoilova with I Won't Break. She deserved a much better entry. And she barely sang on that stage, which is outrageous. Taking a look at the grand final. Portugal, last place. Don't make me laugh. And the worst song of the 2018 final? BS. Pure BS. Moving on to this year. Let's take a look. Oh, I've pressed the wrong button there. Let's take a look at this year. 2019. It's either Georgia or Albania. Oh, dearie me. Albania has sent some very good songs, let me make that clear. Last year, Mal, fantastic. But there's been a few entries I've not been so keen on as well. Same with Georgia. 2010, fantastic. But also some very poor entries over the years as well. Georgia and Albania then from this year. Now, let's just take a look here at the actual results from the Tel Aviv competition. Way back in May of this year, of course. Okay. Finland finished last of semi-final 1. Many people thought it was going to be Montenegro. I think a lot of Eurovision fans would probably say Montenegro had the weakest entry this year. From semi-final 2, Ireland, and Ireland is the official last place of the 2019 competition. 22 by Sarah McTurnan, 16 points. That's very poor. Deserved a little better. Live performance wasn't brilliant, but it was very charming, and I thought it was a very nice performance with the sort of comic strip feel to the backdrop and the countertop on stage and the milkshakes or whatever it was. I thought it was really nice, but always going to struggle. Georgia. Who was Georgia? Ah, yes. Keep on Going by Otto Nemsadze. I think this was just a bit too, not aggressive, but just not my sort of thing. Not the sort of thing I'd listen to in my own time, but at least it was in Georgian. And then the Albanian entry. Who was that? Oh dear. Oh yeah, you know, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this probably, but Johnny de Malici. Yeah, it's not bad. That song's much better than Georgia in my personal opinion. I'll make that clear. And then taking a look at the grand final results, the UK were last. Well, there's a shock. Not. Germany. That German song, really not one of the 3 weakest entries of the grand final in my opinion. Belarus down there as well, not really a surprise there. So, there we have it. For me, I do think Montenegro 2012, probably the weakest song and probably the weakest performance of the past 10 years. But let me know your thoughts, I'm genuinely interested. This was one hell of a rambling video. I wanted it to be better, but alas, maybe I'll refilm it. Who knows? But, for now, please do let me know your thoughts. I'm genuinely interested, and like I said, I wouldn't take it seriously. You know, everybody's got their own opinion, and I'm sure some people will agree with me, many won't, but that's what makes Eurovision interesting, because everybody's got their own opinions. Enough rambling. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.